Hey guys, welcome back. So today I wanted to show you guys the closest depiction of Thor in New World. This build, without wanting to be comical, is extremely good. Capable of achieving over 5 digits of damage like this. If you guys want to be the closest representation to Thor there is in any video game, you guys want to build this. It's a direct counter to Sword and Shield Spear, which is very prominent in the 1v1 meta. Serenity Greatsword gets absolutely stomped by this, by the way. It is completely able to close the gap with any ranged build, whether it be mage or archer. It doesn't matter. This build does it all, dude. So I'll be going over every single gear option that are pre-bis, which is pre-best in slot. Then I'll be going over the best in slot options, which is just what you will want eventually. All the pre-bis options are all open world finds, are very easy to find in very easy dungeons that you guys barely even need a group for. So let's go over every single piece in this video, and I'll show you guys some clips of what this build is capable of doing. Let me 1v3 load. Alright guys, so to start off, obviously we're gonna go with the Spark of Mjolnir hammer, which is the artifact that drops from Lazarus Instrumentality. Just do it on M1 and just farm it over and over until you get the hammer. It drops from the last boss. Very easy to get. You'll have to do max 5 runs when it's mutated. Just throw on Transient Strikes on it. It'll improve your heavy attack damage, which you will be doing a lot with this hammer. Moving on to the blunderbuss, which is the next weapon we're going to be using. You have a pre-bis and a bis option. Both of them, they are the exact same. The only thing that changes is the gear score. So for the pre-bis option, we are going to go with the Mist Buckshot. It drops from Elysian Wilds in the Tribunal High Mound lead zone. I'll be putting it on screen right now. It's a boss that starts with an M, a big elephant. Kill that elephant, get a poisonous nectar off the TP, and it'll come with Keenly Jagged, Exhaustive Net Shot. Use that nectar, put in Disdained Infliction on the blunderbuss, and you got yourself a budget hoplite blunderbuss with the same exact perks as the other one. The only difference is the gear score. Now, obviously, the best one is going to be the hoplite one with the 3 perks mentioned previously. Just throw on for both of them the Augmented Electrified Rune Glass, aka the Electric Rune Glass with a topaz in it. It'll give you an electric dot. It'll scale off the Mjolnir as well because it is now half electric. Alright guys, back to my camera for the armor slots. So for the armor, there is 2 options that are opened up to you. So the first one is the best in slot, of course, and the second one is the pre-bis. So the bis will use the Azoth conductors, and then the pre-bis will use featherweight, which is open world drop. Now, I know for my open world players and my solo players, it can be very tempting to just go the featherweight route. I promise you, the Azoth conductors are minimum 10 times better. If you guys don't do Gorgons or don't have a team for Gorgons, just pug it out. Just go in global and find a team. You just need to do first boss, and even if you don't get the drop, you can literally go again the same exact day. Even if you do not get the actual drops, the artifact can still drop from the first Gorgon boss. Extremely easy boss. Second boss is where most people hard stop, but first boss is extremely easy, even with inexperienced people. But enough of me trying to convince you guys to get Azoth. I promise you they're worth it. So obviously, for the bis build, we're going to go with the Azoth conductors. Throw on lightning harnessing on it with the golden coconut. This increases our damage when we're in medium armor, or elemental damage, which is 99% on Mjolnir and at least 50% on the blunderbuss. Very good perk. Refreshing on it, which isn't very needed on this build, but it's always nice to have some refreshing, you know. Health, which is very good for this build as we're in a more of a bruiser build, and lightning harnessing is what we threw on it. Very good pants. Honestly, there's nothing better for this build. If you don't know where to get the lightning harnessing perk, do some corrupted portals. It's a rare drop from corrupted crates, or just go on the TP, get a totem of lightning. Very nice perk to have for this build. For the chest and helm options, we went with the Frigid Dawns. For the people that don't know what Frigid Dawn is, it is the Glacial Tarn mutated drops. So you can get this in M1, M2, M3 Tarn. I would suggest farm it in M1 and just upgrading it at the kiln with lightning harnessing, because you will need to upgrade it anyways to put lightning harnessing on it. So just save yourself the headache, do it in M1, speedrun it in 10 minutes, and you guys got yourself best in slot helmet and chest. The reason you want Frigid Dawn, again, for people that are unaware, it is a named item that drops with Enchanted Ward and Elemental Aversion. Those are supposed to be in the same perk bucket, so they're not supposed to drop together. But this set specifically drops with Enchanted Ward and Elemental Aversion, which is basically an illegal perk combination. Offers us very, very good protection against elemental ranged attacks and any light or heavy attacks in general. So very, very good. Throw on lightning harnessing on it. Those are going to be both our heavy pieces for the chest and helmet. Once you do get enough Gorgon crafts materials, you guys can go with a Gorgonite helmet and a Gorgonite chest piece that have Enchanted Ward, lightning harnessing, and either conditionings or health. That is all up to you guys for the people that are more towards the end game of this build. For the gloves, there are no named gloves that drop what we need. I got very, very lucky with this one. It is not a BIS option, but it is very close to one. It has Elemental Aversion, Lightning Harnessing, and Thorny Reflection. I think very, very highly of Thorny Reflection. It not only is a survivability perk, reducing crit chance for the other guy, but it also reflects a bunch of damage, which is great on medium and heavy builds. Lightning Harnessing, which is another best in slot for this. The only thing I would change on these gloves is the Elemental Aversion for Enchanted Ward. Since we are more up in people's faces, Elemental Aversion loses a little bit of value. It is good for gap closing on mages and elemental bows, but obviously we're going to be up in people's faces. We want Enchanted Ward. Intelligence is okay, because you guys will see the stat distribution at the end. It fits right in what we want. We talked about the Azots already. For the boots, again, I don't have a named item for this, but Enchanted Ward, Lightning Harnessing, Refreshing is pre-bis again. I would want to swap this out for Sundering Shockwave, which is basically an augment to the Shockwave perk. It would just basically apply rent. Good for damage scaling, good in PvP in general. Shockwave is amazing, but these boots, very good. As long as you had Enchanted Ward and Lightning Harnessing on every piece, you guys will be fine. Moving on to jewelry. I use this specifically because of my server's meta. A lot of void bows completely infested on this server, but if you guys are on a higher skill server, you guys are going to want to go with a health / protection and a either divine, or if you have a preference for heart rune perks, you guys can go with a heart rune perk on the amulet. It's okay. I wouldn't say it's as good as divine, but it's okay. But again, health / protection, divine, any protection gem at all in it, whether onyx, opal, or you guys can go with a moonstone for a bit more slash protection. Champion's Ring is a BIS item, well, pre-BIS, considering that you could get it 725 on a Gorgon craft, but for named items, this is as good as it's going to get. Lightning Harnessing and Hardy are mandatory on this, and Invigorated Punishment is very, very good for damage scaling again. The better your opponent is, the more damage you're going to do, basically. Endless Thirst. Very, very good. This is what I went with until the Elemental Band is disabled, which afterwards I will be doing some testing with Elemental Band, see if we could get higher damage with the same survivability. But M-Toast and Fort Toast, which aren't supposed to drop together, do on Endless Thirst. If you guys don't know where to get this, I would get it in Savage Divide. I do have a Jasper on it. That was just because I was running Gorgons yesterday and I was getting mauled by the first boss. But if you guys do want the gem in this, just throw on an opal or an onyx. When it comes to Elemental Band, if you guys were to use Elemental Band instead of Champion's Ring, you guys cannot throw the lightning damage on it, so you guys are basically preying on the Empowers, which would work with Thorny Reflections as well, which would give you another proc, so you'd have at least 2 procs, and if you throw on a different damage conversion, which isn't very viable with a musket, but if that's what you're going for, then go for it. You guys would get a 15% Empower off Elemental Band if you replace a Topaz, and that could be viable, but it does take some preparing before the fight, whereas you need to hit him with the Blunderbuss, and then hit him with the hammer, and then throw out your abilities. But that's for another video. Now, if we're going to talk about the pre-bis option, if you guys really, really cannot do Gorgons, really don't want to, or just can't pug because your chat is broken or something, go with featherweight. Not as good as Azoth conductors. The damage is the same. The survivability is a lot more shit. You'll get physical aversion, refreshing, and you're gonna want to throw on lightning harnessing on it. This is just because I use it on my fire staff abyss that it has void harnessing. For your armors, you're gonna want to use a heavy frigid dawn helmet and a heavy frigid dawn glove with lightning harnessing on both of them. For the featherweight combo, you're gonna want a light pants and a light boots. Boots can stay the same. You guys can have enchanted ward, lightning harnessing, and sundering shockwave. And for the pants, they would basically take the gloves spot. So you're gonna want enchanted ward, lightning harnessing, and thorny reflections. Jewelry stays the same. For the heart rune, I like to go with grasping vines for the rending and the weakening. It's very good. Prevents people from running away from you. I did talk at the beginning of the video about gap closers, which I will be covering here soon. And yeah, that's basically it for the pre-bis armor and the bis armor. Again, for any one of these pieces, by the way, for the people that are very, very endgame, Gorgonite crafts with these specific perks will do a better job. But again, those are hundreds of prismatic mats. For the stat points, so the stat points you're going to want to go is 350 strength. Again, hammer scales off strength. We want the 350 strength, especially these perks. One second. These perks are very good for any damage build. I don't know why you gave me that, sorry. So all these little milestones are very good. The 150 intelligence may seem odd to a lot of people. Blunderbuss scales off intelligence, but that is not what we're going with. Even if the blunderbuss scaled off dexterity, I would still be going with the 150 intelligence. Reason being, the elemental damage on this milestone for light and heavy attacks, which we do a lot of heavy attacks with the hammer, and then the elemental damage for this. These things boost our damage through the roof. We're trading survivability for damage, which is what this build is all about. I have 90 con right now on it. With food, I'm at 139, I think, which is fine. I have not had any problems surviving really on a lower bruiser con build, which, again, as you guys could see from the clips, I don't really have any problems surviving. Those are just the arena clips, but I have hundreds and hundreds of open world and OPR clips. I haven't tried this build in war, but talking to my friends who have rosters in more serious servers, a lightning hammer bruiser build is viable. Again, you'd probably want to trade the intelligence for con, but still very, very high damage in that case. For the attributes or the abilities, you guys are going to want to go with the taking advantage of the Mjolnir's perks, which is basically all spec'd into Mighty Gavel. So this is what the tree looks like. We're going with the Mighty Gavel all the way down to this perk. The Armor Breaker for the Rends and just high damage in general. This has a very underwhelming animation just to absolutely destroy everybody's health. This perk is just a massive damage increase. This, again, we're doing a lot of heavy attacks. Armor penetration is always nice. Exhaust, that's to prevent people from running away from you or dodging through your attacks. Your hammer attacks are a bit slower since you're doing half heavies and full heavies. So you do want to drain their stamina as much as possible. These twos are basically grits and empowers, which is always nice on hammer. This one doesn't add as much value as any of the other perks, although it is a good perk. Shockwave, I want to go all the way down, and just because we have no other option, we're doing this, which is in itself a very good perk. This, not so much. So we do want to go with the concussive impact in order to hit that last perk, which expands the shockwave radius by a lot. And that is it for the hammer abilities. They're pretty self-explanatory. You can't really go wrong with hammer. All the perks are basically good on the hammer class for some reason. Now for the blunderbuss. This can swap. You can swap these bombs for a shrapnel blast. I like these bombs more for zoning and preventing people from holding peaks for a couple seconds. And in general, they're very high damage. If you go with a net shot to slow and exhaust, which is what we have on our blunderbuss to catch up and close those gaps, very good. Adds a bleed as well, which is very nice. This can also be used for an escape in case you are losing an engagement. Just use the net shot. It'll fly you backwards, which gains you distance and slow them so that they cannot close that distance and drain their stamina. is all around the best ability on the blunderbuss in my opinion. Grapple shot. This is just to close the distance once again. You can use it to do some burst damage where you would go with a light attack, a claw shot, which reloads your attack, another light attack, a net shot to close the distance, and another light attack, which is a very, very high damage burst combo. That is just if your hammer is completely out of abilities and you do want to keep a bit of distance between you and the enemy. The bombs are very, very good against for zoning and for just high damage burst. What you could do with the bombs is you use a net shot, or you use a light attack, net shot, straight into a grapple shot into your bombs, which will deploy around everybody. Swap to your hammer and shockwave to keep them in those bombs. And then you just hit them with a mighty gabble, and they should be going down pretty quickly. The reason why I went for this over another perk is because the Fortify is always nice on a blunderbuss. Since we're very, very in close, getting Fortify on any ability is very nice. Since we're ability dumping anyways, it's a free 9% Fortify. Claw shot all the way down is pretty self-explanatory. Same with the net shot for the bleeds. These bombs are pretty self-explanatory as well. You want to do as much damage as possible, so burn and haste is always nice. This is more of a conditional perk, whereas we're not really counting on it, but it's always nice to have more cooldowns. This, again, is cooldowns again, so that we have our escape or gap closer all the time. This perk over here is nice because, again, we want to have stamina because we're up close and we want to be able to dodge other attacks. Reloads give you a damage boost, which isn't very good in my opinion, but well, we needed to put something, and the other perks was just not as good. And successful hits grant Fortify, which is the same reason as these. We're up very close, and we want to have as much Fortify as possible. So now with this stat distribution, you're basically set. If you do not have very, very high gear, you don't want to drop your con below 100. That's the first thing. If you don't have enough stat points, you don't want to drop it below 100. If you have to give something up, give up a bit of strength, keep the intelligence. So go 300 strength, and you could bump that con up a little bit more if you have problems surviving. But once you get a bit better at the using this build and the timings, you guys will want to drop that con back down to have 350 strength and 150 intelligence. So yeah, let me know what you guys think of this build. Try it out for yourself, see if it's good for your playstyle. Again, my favorite build in the whole entire game. Very, very fun, very high damage, very good survivability, and it just beats Serenity, which is so nice to do. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed. Make sure you leave a like and a sub, and I will see you guys next time. Oh, last thing I forgot to add while I was editing this. For the rune glass, you're just going to want to go with a mix of opals and onyxes. And just go with the electric one. It's pretty self-explanatory, but you want as much lightning damage as possible. Sorry for forgetting that. I was literally thinking about that while I was recording. For this one, same. You're going to want to go with protection gem, not void. This is just for my server specifically. And this one, you're not going to want to go with the jasper. Again, I was getting mauled by first boss, and I was throwing last night, so I just threw that on. Again, just protection gem, and you'll be fine. For consumables, I'll let you guys figure that out. It's pretty simple and pretty basically self-orientated, where you're gonna want different type of consumables on your thing. I went with a health potion, artisan flatbread, some regeneration serums, and some gemstone dust. Usually you'd want oak flesh bomb over this, but again, my server is infested with mages and void bows, so gemstone dust works a bit more for me. But go with whatever your server needs.